Hi there, this is the story of PayPal, ticker symbol PYPL. Right now the market cap is about 65 billion and the price $68 per share. And the most important question is whether PayPal is a great investment right now. By the way, great investment. Mark that word, great. And the answer, you will find it in this box. During this video, open the box and you'll find whether PayPal is a great investment. By the way, this company has also been requested by a Titan member, which has access to my portfolio and sees all my investments, which are up. Now, let's continue. To understand this business, and of course my answer, you have to look at the most important indicators. Revenue, as you can see over the last 3 years, and more recently, the first half of 2025, revenue has increased quite nice, from 27.5 billion to over 41.8 billion. And for this year, might deliver more than 40 billion, 42 billion. And earnings, of course, this is a respectable company. They have profits, high profit margins. Look here, 2 billion 2022, 4 billion, 4 billion 2024, and for the first half of 2025, 2.5 billion. And that's great. And on top of that, if you look at their free cash flow, over 5 billion. Of course, in 2023, they had 4.2 billion, but then 6.7 billion. And this is quite great. This company is profitable. They deliver earnings year over year, quarter by quarter. Now, if you look at their balance sheet, they have 13.6 billion in cash plus investments. And of course, the debt, 11.3 billion. So when you subtract the debt from the cash, they are left with around 2.3 billion. Now, the most important thing is to understand how PayPal makes money. And I think you already know that, but you also have to understand their competitive advantages. So 90% of the revenue comes from charging fees on transactions processed on their platform, PayPal platform. They offer their platform to merchants and consumers. This. And the other 10% from loans, by the way, here in A, subscriptions, and other value-added services. And this way, they make money. Now, what's important is to add that question. Will the free cash flow earnings increase more in the future? Because if that happens, your investment will go up, right? And then the second question is, how much will these earnings and free cash flow increase in the future? 5%? 10%? 20%? Because that will make a big difference in your investment, your return on investment. You might have 5% on your investment, 10% or 20%. That's why you have to ask the right questions and then see the probabilities for each scenario. Now, to help you, to guide you further, you have to look at PayPal for the most important indicators, besides revenue and earnings and free cash flow. Active accounts is one of them, 448 million, which for the last quarter was up 2%. So they have 448 million users. This is an important indicator because if you see a decline, bad things may happen. Now, in my view, this is not that important, but the most important is the total payment value, which was up 4% in the last quarter, 443 billion. And this is quite great. As long as this growth rate keeps going and increases, by the way, to maybe 10%, especially if it reaches 10%, your investment will do quite well from the current level. And then, on top of this total payment volume, you have to ask yourself how much they can charge on that payment volume. And here it comes the second important indicator, total take rate, which now is about 1.87%, a decline from last year from 1.89%. And here, many people fail to understand this. If you look back, 2020, this total take rate was about 2.03%. So over the last 5 years, it has declined from 2.03% to 1.87%. Not a big decline, but you have to think further in the future. What will happen next? Will the total take rate decrease more in the future? As a question. For me, it's likely that will happen. Yes, this take rate is likely to decrease more in the future, in my view. If you believe it will go up, that's up to you. It's your hypothesis. But for me, it's likely that it will go down. And why is that? Well, it's simple. PayPal has more competition. And when you compete with more players, guess what? What do you compete on? On fees, right? They compete with the traditional banks because they also started to offer. So traditional banks, they started to offer their apps, transfer, easy. Also with Stripe for merchants. And of course, other players. And it's likely that this take rate will go down in the future. Imagine, they make money when you send money to other accounts or pay a checkout, right? But in my view, this will be like SMS. Remember SMS? They charge you some cents to send a message to your friend. So send a message to your friend. And nowadays, we use WhatsApp or other social media platforms. And that's for free. Free. No longer pay for SMS, right? Tell me if you still pay for SMS. Maybe you do. I don't know. And my prediction, of course, over a longer period, 5 to 10 years or even more, sending money will become free. In my view. This is my view. I mean, what's the value a company like PayPal offers when they charge you a fee to send money? I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense. Now, once we establish this, and I hope you understand why the fees are likely to go down because of competition and also technology. Technology will make more easy to send money. Then it comes the first indicator, total payment volume. Ask the question. Will the total payment volume go up in the future or down? Ask the question. As the world becomes more digital, more people come to those digital platforms, digital banks, or how you want to call them, this volume for sure will increase more in the future. Yes, in my view, will increase more in the future. Now, the big question is to understand, about PayPal, is the difference between the growth rate in the total payment volume and the decline in the total take rate. If the increase in the total payment volume is higher than the decline in total take rate, then PayPal will do well in the future. Your investment will go up. But if they don't succeed to attract more users, active accounts to their platforms, then this total payment volume may be flat or it may decline. That's why competition is a big risk for PayPal. And that's why the market cap has been around this level, 60 billion, and also the price over the last 5 years. Going up during that pandemic, something like this, and then down and flat over the last 5 years. there is a big question mark. And over a longer period, for sure, the growth rate won't be that high as it was in the past. For sure, you won't have 20% growth rate for PayPal. 10% maybe in some years, some quarters, they may achieve that. But the growth rate will be about between 5 and 10%. This is the range. This is my prediction. And if you look at the free cash flow, yes, 6.7 billion of last year, and compared to the market cap, you might say, yes, price to free cash flow around 10, right? And it's undervalued, but the risks, the biggest risk lies ahead. Lower take rates for sure, and total payment volume might not grow that high as the decrease in the total take rate. And this is a big question mark. If you can predict that they can increase the total payment volume and compete, other players, be number 1 or 2, then PayPal will do well. But if you can't do that, PayPal is a risky investment. Now, to open the box and show you the answer whether PayPal, as I said, is a great investment right now, you can see it here. For me, right now, PayPal is not a great investment. It might be a good investment. Yes, as long as they continue to grow by 6% a year, also in their revenue, see an increase like this, around 5%. Yes, you may have a return, maybe 7% over the next 5 years. Because they also use this money to do more buybacks. So you're likely to get a return in this investment. Maybe around 7% or 5%. It depends. It depends also on what other services they can add to their platform. So, yes, if you want just an average return, 7%, then PayPal may be a good investment for you. But if you want great results, great investment ideas, then PayPal, in my view, is not the right company to be in. Great investment idea, you can simply find it my portfolio. You go to my profile, press join and choose Titan Investor. And there you can find great investment ideas better than PayPal, which are likely to increase more in the future and deliver you a higher return, a double, 15% over the next 5 years. And this is quite a lot. Plus you also get access to an investing course, in-depth analysis, and of course access to the previous levels, Spartan and Gladiators. Now, there are some people that really want to invest in PayPal. They like this company. Maybe they use Venmo, their platform. And if you force me, you give me $1 million and tell me, John, you're only allowed to invest in PayPal. What price would you pay? So you can make a profit. Well, that answer will be available for members. And to be fair, not to charge you more, it will be available for Spartan members, where the price is $10. By the way, if you join Titan, you also have access to Spartan. Or if you are already a Titan member, you have access to Spartan. So see you there.